To this week's Q&A, we're on live Q&A number 42, and this evening a good lot of questions came in across a range of topics. Most of them are acoustic, so you know the drill. If you have questions at any stage, ask away. If you want anything expanded upon, just ask, or if anything just pops up in the moment that you feel like asking. There is no such thing as a stupid question, or even if you've asked a question before, even getting it answered at this stage of your journey, or me sharing something again, it could land differently. So don't hold back. That's what I'm saying. Right. So first of all, I'm going to do a little bit of screen sharing. I just changed color there instead of changing screens. Give me one sec. Sorry. There we go. Alrighty. So I just want to say here to bring your attention to our new Share Your Wins thread. I am removing the Share Your Wins category. It's now going to be a thread, so I'll post it up every now and again, and we can just share, and like there's 28 comments already, which is class. It'll just be a place for you to share a win. The win doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be like the biggest thing in the world, even something small. And just for everybody to be seeing how you're getting on and to encourage each other on. Okay, that is the intention. And then all the Q&As, real quick, like we're on number 42, and the point of guitar isn't to take in all the information in the world. It's not to try and catch up on all the info that's out there. It's basically to find what you need right now for your playing. And to make that easier, what I've begun to do is I've gone back through the live Q&As around 4 to 5 at a time, and I've gone through the questions that were asked, and I've cherry picked like some of the highlights, some ones that like would be more relevant from what I know of all of you inside the community. So what's just gone up inside the hub today is the following. In under guitar hours, so you'll be going, I'll just bring you through this real quick. You'll be going to content library, guitar hours with Dave. And you see before now, it was like we had single ones, like the different streams. But what I've done is I've created highlight reels of 4 to 5 at a time. So this one here is one that went up just today. And this is from our live Q&As up here that were streamed on YouTube. It's an hour and 50 minutes long. And I'm going to start by saying, I don't know about you, but I don't watch movies anymore. If something's over an hour, I rarely watch it. So the purpose isn't for you to go and watch the whole thing. But what it can do is, it is chaptered. And you see here, if something catches your fancy, that's the first way to make use out of this. So stuff like, should I learn scales and triads, dag-dad tuning in Irish music, and then all down to how to start jamming, do power chord, everything's here. So there's like 33 different questions. And the other purpose that serves is if you do a search in the top bar inside the hub, as these Q&As go on, this database will build out with more relevant questions for you. And like, just to touch on that point of what I said earlier, inside one of the courses, there is a younger version of Dave showing how to best hold your pick for alternate picking. But now, this one that went up lately is some of the same advice, but even, let's say from then, I could have taught, I don't know how many 100 lessons since then. So my approach could have slightly changed, or there could be a bit more, it could be explained better. Okay, so that's the other advantage of this. And our little AI bot buddy, who you can ask questions to, that will search all this video library, is coming this month before the end. Promise you that. Right, so that is that. And then, as well as that, because just touching on the information part, like the thing is, like, my concern around the hub being built out is that it will just turn into another YouTube that'll just be full of tons of information, and you'll go into it and go, oh my God, there's so much here, I'll never get this completed. And that's true, you will never get it completed. There's just too much there. But the purpose of it is that it will contain all the major questions that any of you have at any stage that you've all asked. And when you ask this little thing, it's going to, like a librarian, it will direct you to the correct lesson or the correct point in the lesson. And with that, because action is everything when it comes to this stuff, we can have our guitar intellect totally intact, but to take action on it. So out of those 33 items, I went through, and in full transparency, with the help of AI, I got it to go through the transcript, and I've had a read through some of this, and it's really good. That for each question, there's a brief summary, 3 key takeaways, but most importantly, action items. So if you see a question here that you like underneath this video, after in the morning, this has been added. This just got done this evening. This is going to have some action items. So if you like the question, you can go and see the action item for that question, so you can actually like put it into your playing. Alrighty, folks, that is kind of it. Okay. Now I'm going to get into the questions. Let's check. Questions on beer probably won't be added to the hub, but we can set up a different hub. Declan, you're going to retro. That's cool. Buddy Holly, class. I know. We'll have a backup fridge. Okay. That's cool. Brian, legend. Mosquitoes in Scotland, yeah. Same as Ireland. Okay, so let's get into the Q&A. So, first question that came in was from Anissa, and this was tagged on to Niall's Q&A. And the question was around when doing a gig, like for example, playing it at like a Sunday market, do you have to bring your own equipment, like a microphone, mic stand, amp? In general, yes. Like in general, if you're going to play anywhere for anybody, the expectation is there that you'll have some form of equipment. Now, what's the most basic form of equipment? If you have an acoustic already and it is not semi-acoustic, meaning it cannot be plugged in, the first thing I'd probably do is upgrade that first. And then get an amp. And there's tons of amps. You can get like busking amps. There's a Roland Cube, I think I've seen buskers with. But make sure it has a power supply. If you get one that only has batteries, it will drain the batteries really quick. So that's what I'd share there, Anissa. And if the guitar is acoustic, how do you project the sound? Okay, I'm going to do a little bit on that. So if I was playing a Sunday market with no amp, and this doesn't plug in, so I have done this, the first thing I'd do is I would bring a thicker pick, or I would have practiced strumming louder to begin. Like, here's an example. The general decibel reading on the Q&As have been like this. Sunday market, I'd be going. Like, there's all that headroom to go. And then if you have bar chords, they're generally great to bang out more because you can really hammer the strings and your fingers will take care of the vibrations traveling up the strings. Like, if I try that in an open G chord, you're mostly hearing bang and open strings. So like, if you have bar chords, use them. So that's what I'd share there, Anissa. Of course, nothing trumps having a plug-in. So yeah, that's what I'd say. And by the way, I know you're in Australia, so like whatever the pre-owned / second-hand gear market website will be over there, I'd search that. Like, you'd be amazed when it comes to music instruments, what you can pick up. Like, some of the crew here will say the same with Ireland. Like, it's just mad. Like, and the reason is a lot of people buy stuff and they either don't use it or they've good intentions and just it never happened and they just want to sell it on, like out of any type of thing. It's really cool. Okay, so next question that came in is from Noel, and John had some similar question as well. So I'm gonna read out what was shared and then we'll frame it into a question. So don't know if this is a common problem, Dave, but it seems to find my guitar moves a lot when I'm playing. As in, when I'm playing chords or moving my fingers around the fretboard, the guitar tends to move in and out and away from my body. And then John shared, I have the same issue. Guitar seems to hop around a bit and slide down my thigh. If I get in the classical guitar position or move with the raised left leg, it does make it a lot better, John. Okay, so let's say, how do I stop my guitar sliding or moving while I play? Well, the key thing here is as follows. Like, this is first of all to do with how this part of the guitar sits on your leg. So like, sorry, this one's far away. So see the way it's rested here. Now, I tend to play a lot of the time with my legs crossed, right? I saw so many guitarists do it. and it just heightens the guitar a bit. So like watch here if I don't. The guitar drops down here. So that's the first thing. And I don't know, like if you do or don't do cross your legs, like I would say give it a go with this and it'll hoist the guitar up more. That's the first thing. Second thing is you want to look at is the guitar in towards your body. Like when I play, mine is like in. It's like touching my stomach, the side of my stomach. So like I'm playing and it's like coming off the side of my hip like that. I'm not trying to have it like that, right? So my guitar isn't facing like out the way. The sound hole isn't in line with my leg or my knee. The sound hole is out to the side a bit more. And the reason for that is I can hug the guitar in like this and it won't move. Now watch if I do this even. Yeah, like I can feel the body of the guitar underneath this hand just moving and I'm trying to hold it in place. So if you lock it in this way, so that's the position. Instead of this, it's kind of out to the side. Okay, so that's the first thing I'd say, lads, and anybody struggling with this. And then the next thing is you'd have it on and it's in towards your body. And I have, and this is a big one, keep an eye that you don't have like, do you see the way there's space there? You can see between the body of the guitar and underneath my arm. There's like a hole, like there. That's a huge factor in guitars moving on people. So you wanna just relax the shoulder and have it come down from the outside of the guitar as much as possible. Whether it's a 3/4 size or it's a full size, right? I'd play the very same if I was on a full size. So coming in from here, and that locks the guitar in place. So now you have 2 points of it being locked in. First is in towards here, in towards your hip. Second is the outside of the arm. It's locked in like that. Watch the opposite. It's away from my body. See the gap? And the second is that there's a gap up here. Now, do you see the way the guitar is moving about? The other way. And I'm not holding it down like that or anything, but even that amount will help. Okay, so that's the first thing I say, lads. The classical position, so you would have seen me, like I played a lot in videos. The only reason I'm doing that is to get the guitar in the frame for the video. The classical thing is fine, but if you play with others and you sit in with them, like you're right beside them, and if the head of the guitar is sticking out like this versus down here, like it does make a difference. And cross the legs. That's the other thing. Now, so John and Noel, give that a go. And just out of because this will help everyone, like out of interest, if after a few, like it does take a few days, if after a few days it's still sliding about, just in the section of the community, like share your playing, post a video, just playing something short and simple, but a song that specifically is making your guitar body move about, and we'll take a closer look. All right, hope that helps. Great question, and something that I've been thinking about, because if the guitar is moving at all for anybody, it's like trying to build a house with no foundation, no steady foundation, because like the very thing you're trying to execute your playing on keeps moving. The goalposts keep moving, as the saying goes. All right, so I hope that helps. If you need any any questions, I'm just looking down here at the theme of the post. I was looking down there. I see little comments around. Is that guitar? But it's all good. Okay, so next question came in from Brian. What was your biggest challenge on your own guitar journey? How did you overcome it? Great question, Brian. The biggest challenge on my guitar journey was I was playing bass. I got playing bass in a band because like me and another guitar player, no one played bass in the band, so me and another guitar player both said we'd play some. And then as time went on, I ended up playing more, so I ended up playing bass in that band, and then I kind of got caught in a rut. Then bass players are more of a rarity than guitar players, and next thing I was in another band playing bass, and another band, and the lesson here, I'm going to zoom out because I want to bring value to you. The lesson was that if you end up filling in with a group or with others and you don't really enjoy what it is you're playing. Now in my case, it was bass, right? Which was a whole instrument. But if it was like, if you hopped in with the group playing country music and you didn't really like it, well, if you end up playing a few gigs with them, guess what? They know more country players, and you'll probably get a phone call to cover another country band type gig in time. Like, who you hang out with is who you become, and your identity will get locked into that sort of thing if that isn't what you're into in the first place. And that's what happened with bass. I was on albums playing bass. I didn't really enjoy playing bass, and to get out of that, the amount of letting people down and saying I was done playing bass and getting phone calls from people saying, listen, we're really stuck, will you play bass? And it would just start the whole cycle again, saying no. That was the hardest thing, and that was related to the guitar journey because because I wasn't playing much guitar then. Like, to this day, I've geeked more bass than guitar. And to overcome it, and what I'd share here was I read a book called The Artist's Way. It's a really good book about creativity, and I was writing 3 A4 pages every morning. Just stream of consciousness, right? You get up and you write 3 A4 pages of whatever chunk is going around your head, thoughts, and like empties out your head. And in that moment, there was a question going, are you doing anything right now that you don't like to be doing? And I'd kind of blocked out that I didn't like playing bass so much, because I'd see all the other guitar players soloing and stuff. So if I was to put this into an action item and how to overcome it, if you found yourself in a similar situation, they're called morning pages. You can Google the term and do it for like 30 days and see what happens. It might bring clarity to things you might be doing in your guitar life that you might want to be doing, or that might want to be doing more of. All right, hope that brings some value. Okay, question about the capo came in from Andy. Okay, I'm going to share what was written and then I'll frame it. When I use the capo and I place it as close as possible to the fret, I find on some chords my index finger is hitting the capo, and it kind of makes me move the capo away from the fret to allow for that to happen. The C chord, okay. So, question, like if I was to say it in one, it would be my hand is touching the capo when I play, and that's normal. The index especially, right? Just because the nature of the capo. And like if you look here, like your index finger, if the capo on, yeah, the side of the index finger, it's okay to be touching the capo. It's okay. So yeah, it's totally fine, Andy, as long as your chord is still clear, okay? And by the way, when you put up a video again with capo, we'll keep an eye out, but in general, it's totally okay. Okay. Next question came from Martin. Now, I'm going to share what was written again. When I write songs, I sometimes feel I want to do a key change, and I struggle to find the pivot chords to make the transition to the other key. I often know which key I want to go to, and I need pivot chords. Okay, I'll explain pivot chords in a sec. Sometimes I don't know which key I want to shift to, but I do feel I want to change key. And I want to sense way. Okay, brilliant. Okay, so when you're songwriting, how do you add key changes into your songwriting? Well, the thing is, certain chords are linked in certain keys. So I'm waiting on an Apple Pencil that's coming on Wednesday. So I don't have my trusty iPad this evening. Chords in a key. So for that reason, I'm going to go to my Google image. Right, so we'll put up this one. Big shout out to Fretboard Anatomy there for the graphics. So Do you see the key G here? So if you're writing a song and you wrote it in the key of G, meaning you're using G, C, D, E minor, you're using 3 or 4 chords. And let's just say you want to change key, that you want to move to a different set of chords in the same song. Now, this is most famously done in Eurovision songs. And if I do a good old Irish song, it goes, in your eyes, I see the light. Dun, 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 dun. Then the most standard key change is to just shift it up a tone, meaning go up 2 frets. That is the most standard one. An odd exception goes up 3 frets. Bon Jovi, Living on a Prayer. Okay, that one just goes a bit higher. But you can't just, when you're doing the key change, if you're new to songwriting or you haven't been out long, you can't just like bang out the key change. People need to be like warmed up and nurtured that something's about to go down, the key change. So those pivot chords Martin spoke about are chords that you could play when you're in the original key you are in. So meaning that you wrote a song and it was in G, and then you want to change to the key of A. Now let's take a look. The most suitable pivot chord when changing key is to go to the 5 chord, the Roman numeral 5, of your new key. Meaning, I'm playing a song that I wrote that's in G. I want to change it to A. E is the chord I'm going to bang out for a bar or 2 bars or something before I launch into the same set of chords in a different key. So if I was playing G, D, or G, C, and D, let's just keep this simple. I'd play a bar 2 of E to warm up my ear to now start playing A, D, and E. And you might be going, but E, that's a bit of a shock, is it? Just banging out a random E chord. But we had E minor in this original key. So at some stage, people either heard you play E minor or they're expecting E minor. And the difference between an E minor chord and an E chord is just 1 note. And that's how it works. So if I do this, my song, Eurovision song for next year. So if we're going, so let's say it's that. Next thing here. See the way the E kind of, it didn't feel too weird like. Now, as with everything, Martin, you mentioned pivot chords. There's exceptions to every rule. Like some bands break the rules and it becomes normal and it works. So any key change I've generally done, I've done the 5 chord. But also just experiment, you know, experiment, play a few and like treat it like bingo and start scratching off ones that don't work. Like if I really want to dip into more creativity, I'd pick my key, I'd pick the other key, and I'd start experimenting what chords. But the best way I found to nurture people's ears is to use the 5 chord. All right, hope that helps. Great question. Great to get a question on songwriting. That was cool. Alrighty, hopefully I didn't confuse anybody there. It can get a bit heady, the whole keys and chords stuff. Now, next question. Came from Chris. Do I have any tips or exercises that could help with string skipping? An example would be the intro to Welcome to the Jungle. Okay. I struggle to get it up to speed while making it sound smooth, and I frequently hit the strings in between by accident. Okay, so I'm gonna dive into this sec. There's 2 lessons in this. Welcome to the Jungle. Tab. There we go. Okay, now, Welcome to the Jungle. I learned it. Okay, so the string skipping, right? The first thing about any riff is, excuse me, the first thing about any riff is you've got to slow it down at the pace that it'll all connect up. And I was actually working on something similar with this with the students today in lessons here, where they came in and I asked them, I said, play the tab there, but I want you to stop at the point where it feels like you've stopped performing it and now you're reading it bit by bit. And that separates the whole thing of like, well, where are we in performance mode? Where are we in practice or reading mode still? And if you're finding that stuff is happening, like you're hitting extra strings and things, what you want to do, Chris, is you want to just take it section by section and start to drill it. Start to really look at, you know, is that intact? Right? Is that section intact? And if so, take it all at a tempo and then boost the whole tempo. Similar to what I recommend with chord progressions. Now, exercises for skipping strings on guitar. The first thing to watch is this. So I'm gonna do this here. So if I was string skipping, I'm generally string skipping with pentatonics. It just sounds really cool because there I wasn't going, I was skipping one each time. Top string, fourth string. Then I go back up to the fifth string. Now, that's one exercise I do. I do 2-5 on the top string. I do 2-4, skip string here. Then you move back up a string, get the one you missed in the middle with 2-4. Then I skip a string. That's why I'll be rewinding this video. And then up a string, 2-4 again. Then it's 2-5 on the B string. Then it's 2-4 on G. Then it's 2-5 on E. Okay, the overall pattern is 2-5, 2-4, 2-4, 2-4, 2-5, 2-5. And all you're doing is skipping. Now, tips for executing that, and you can do this like, you can do it in any pentatonic shape, in any position on the fretboard, any scale really, you can string skip, but I'm just giving this as a foundation. And the key thing here is you want to look and get used to the sensation of the feel of your picking hand skipping the string. Not the visual feedback of it. There is too much going on to cast your eyes back and over like this. If we're checking a ton of stuff, you want to look at the hand and miss, like allow yourself to make the mistakes of missing the strings, but then correct it by feel and go, oh, I went down too far, or oh, I didn't go down far enough. And I take that out first. Right, I would literally take that out super slow, pick down, up, and I'm looking over here the whole time. I would rather go twice as slow, looking at this hand, than I would go faster doing the shuffle. So then, in terms of eye movements, I'm already looking at where my index finger is going to go. My eyes are cast down to here, even as I'm playing the first two notes. But then when I start those notes, my eyes travel to the next string. So every time I move to the string to start picking it, I stop looking at that string with my eyes and I divert my eye gaze to the string above. Because I don't need to look at the string that I'm on now, because it's a mechanical muscle memory based movement to play something that's right here. I don't need to look at where I am. So, and that takes training. Like there's hand movement, there's eye movements, hand movements, finger pick stuff, but if you take it slow, and that'll work. So then I take that out And it's using Billie Jean. And then I drill that, and then I'd add on the last piece. I'd add on the last pieces. Patience is the name of the game when it comes to working on technique, especially with string skipping. Like this guitar here, my old electric is here. This little baby, this is a Yamaha Pacifica. This is a teen, and like I just took it out there because I was playing a gig on Saturday night, and I don't know, the memory started coming back of the hours of playing, like that exercise I just shared. I easily would have played that for days in a row, days and days and days and days and days in a row. And that's, in a sense, that's what I'd recommend you do. Like, do other stuff, but I mean, just keep that as your primary focus. Because Welcome to the Jungle, all the Guns N' Roses stuff, all like AC, all types of stuff, it will all stem from your ability to be technical and methodical about your picking and approach on the exercise. Hope that helps. Great question. Okay, I'm going to check. Is there any questiones? Hey Stephen, what's up? Welcome in. Do you have a question? Ask away. Okay. Okay, to double in on this, B7 with the capo. Yeah, no, 100% Andy. So if you're finding that your index finger is touching up against the capo, and it feels like it's too much, almost like that you're pushing the capo, I'd rotate the angle of your hand a bit more. So like, for example, if you're making B7, see the angle of my hand here, it's not slant. The index will be the giveaway, and I know you asked about that. So yeah, I just reposition the index a bit more, you know, or relax the grip a bit more. All right, so that'll help. Del, you know, class, enjoy the positions. Yeah, and by the way, if any advice on capos, gang, drop them in the chat for Andy. I know I saw what you posted there, and like, I like the Kaiser ones are fine. They're like, I have Kaiser ones and I have the Shub ones. The Shub ones, Andy, don't have the big grip on the top, and they're very light. Question about guitars here, Declan. If you're here, I might have to tag you in here. Do you recognize these brands? I'm an absolute Taylor head. Like, I don't know anything about the Martin, so I can't comment on it. I can comment on having played Taylors. I love Taylors. But if you have a chance at all, regardless of brands or anything, try and get to a guitar store to play them for yourself, or go on a pre-owned second-hand music website and see someone selling one and ask, can you come along and try the guitar? That's the thing, you know, because it is an investment. Okay, perfect, Andy. That's cool. I hope that helped. Thanks, Anne, as well. Alrighty. Now, something else that came up was the idea of songs and the idea of, like, how many songs should be learning at once. And like, at the end of the day, it's a great idea to try and get up to a 10-song set list. Like, try and get 10 songs that you can play, that you could choose from, that are as good as each other, and to work towards that. And it doesn't come overnight. It doesn't come after a couple of months around it, but like, just to take your time with it. But in terms of scratching that itch that I know a lot of us have, myself included, of doing something new and novel on guitar, the idea of doing a single strum song, like just going on Ultimate Guitar and looking up songs and basically just going, well, I might just have a spin at the chords here and just do a single strum and just sing along to yourself for the song. It removes the strum pattern, removes the chord progressions, removes speeds, removes trying to sing and play with the strum and the stuff. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, it removes all the stuff that would take more work, that would pull you away from your other work, and you can kind of see what it's like just to play a bit of the song. So that's just what I want to share. I was sharing the same lessons because, you know, after a couple of weeks at a song, like it's easy to get kind of bored. Okay, so thanks for the share there, Brian. Hold on now a sec. Okay, now the other thing that came in was I had a student today, real whiz kid, and learning isn't a problem. Like, I could write out complicated tab and he'd play it, or like stuff like that, or chords. But the lesson I was trying to share with them was that not all learning on guitar takes place from new things, like new information that you put into action on the guitar. Sometimes the learning is to do with environments, circumstances, and scenarios. And one that we worked on today was I put on a song and I said, hey, join in. And that was such a shift in mode for a guitarist. And if you have the chance that you know somebody nearby you that plays guitar, that you could meet up with them, I'd recommend it. Like, I taught somebody years ago and they were learning to play, but then they'd go to somebody's house every so often, and that person, and it needs to be the right person, of course, but that person used to play songs and my student would just try their best to join in with them. And that there's a whole bookload of stuff there that, yeah, can be written on a page in frameworks and stuff, but it's when you're in it that you learn things. And I'm going to share one or two things here if there isn't questions about what the student learned, so that you can be looking to learn it if you play with others. And just look, pop me a comment in the chat if this is of interest. I'll go deep on it. I know we have like 20 minutes. But if you have questions or there's another topic or anything you want to see covered, this is your live stream. Ask a question or suggest a topic, all right? So what I'm asking is, I'm about to share about like tips on if you were to sit in with another guitarist or with a group of guitarists and jamming. So just let me know if it's of interest. I'll just grab a drink of water here. And don't worry, you won't hurt my feelings if you go, no, Dave. that's nonsense. Okay, so I'll leave it a sec. Or if there's any other topics. Yes, I've never endorsed anything as much in my entire life with, okay, no, cool. I've never endorsed anything so much in my entire life for, yeah, I have no affiliation with Taylor, unfortunately. But this baby's 10-year anniversary is coming up now in November. Don't know, I'm thinking about bringing it into a guitar store and like getting it, I don't know, getting it done up, get our vows renewed. So, okay. So, okay, I'm gonna go for it. Right, so when it comes to jamming, what happened in this lesson was I put on the song and it was Into the Line by the Traveling Wilburys. So, now, I didn't ask him to play with that would have been cruel. But from here, well, it's alright, running around in the breeze, well, it's alright, in the breeze, well, now, what happened was, I was bringing him through it, and in that verse, and I see two questions here, I'll get to those, don't worry. In the verse, what happened was, he was really uncomfortable. And I told him about the key. I said, look, we're in the key of D. That means that these chords may or may not come up, but now I've removed it from every chord possibility in your life to just this set of chords. And this guy watched my chord hand like a hawk, because the first thing I said to him was forget about strumming. Don't try and get the strum pattern. And because that straight away, if you try and do both in a session, if you join with somebody, it's going to split your focus. And the strumming is so less important than the chords. If somebody else is already playing the song, they have the strumming covered. You can do single strums. Just get, and I don't care, like, I don't care if, let's say, somebody might go, but like, surely I have to know the strum pattern joining with the song. If the strum pattern's going, and you're going like this, you're contributing to it. And the other, everyone's going to hear the other one anyways. But the chords are what matter the most. What happened was, we're going through it, and you could see the ups and the downs where, like, it's easy to go, oh, I'm getting it now. And they, like, almost predicting the next chord, and then the thing would change again. Especially stuff like this. That quick A. And what I share with my student, I was like, the key thing here is to forget about words, but hear the melody. You begin to map, your musical brain begins to map the melody with the chords and the chord movements. So he started to twig then. And what happened was, we moved into the next section that goes at the end of the line. I can see the relief in his face here. He's like, oh, thank God. What's this section? This is lovely. Like, just long lints on chords that are familiar. And it's rare you'll find a song that's just all chords all the way through, like I mean, that they keep changing, because the very nature of songs is that there'll have to be something consistent and steady as well as frequent and changing. Because if a song is all one or all the other, people get bored or they get overwhelmed. And he had a breather, but then it went back to the other. Dun, dun. And I drew this thing here from, at the end, we kind of deconstructed. And this, I said, were you kind of feeling like this? It was a bit of a roller coaster, ups and downs. And he's like, yeah. And I said, that's kind of like the wave of jamming emotions. It's kind of like, you get excited and you're happy that, like, you're on a section, now you're joining in. Then you're in the, like, the pit of despair if you're like, everything keeps changing. I can't track the chords. And you know yourselves if you joined in with the song and, like, you think you're getting it, and you even think you're starting to remember what chords or how it goes or predicting what's next. And next thing, it just changes and you're in survival mode where you're just like, well, my next priority is just to find the next chord this guy's about to play. And that's my thing. So we chatted then about ChatGPT. I asked him had he heard of ChatGPT. He had. And I asked him had he heard that it was getting smarter. And he said he had. And I asked, what's making it smarter? And it was all the information everybody's putting into ChatGPT makes it smarter. But, like, we're humans. We're this, like, right now, we're hanging in there with the old robot overlords. But, like, we're the same in a jamming context. We're getting information fed to us the whole time from the environment, from chords, chord changes, and either finger picking or strumming patterns. And the more you can take that in, the smarter you'll be going into the next round of the song. Because what I did was, I wrote it out like this. I said, you know, like, there's the loop. Like, we started in the verse, then we went to the pre-chorus, then the chorus. And then I said, we went back around again. And I said, did the verse feel as bad the second time round? And he said, well, no. I began to realize what chords are in it. Maybe I didn't have the order of them, but I was doing a lot better. And then the chorus came up, which he liked anyways, because the chords were longer and easier. And all of a sudden, that got a lot comfier. And the thing I shared, I stopped the song at that point, but I was like, that's the ups and downs within a song, and that's the cycle within a song. And then if you zoom out, if you sit in on a session or you sit in on more songs, an overall session can be the same. You could have 2 or 3 songs that you'll go, they went really well, they were lovely ones, I knew 2 of them, or that one was easy, it sounded like this other one I knew. But then you could go, man, Jesus, there was like 3 or 4 howlers there, like, you know, I want to forget those. But the overall ups and downs of the session, but the more you take part in jamming and the more you play with others, that roller coaster, somebody once said, it begins to turn into more of a kiddie ride, where it's just a lot more even keeled. And you'll have heard songs before. You'll know what to do. You'll know how to handle not knowing how to join in or something. So that was it. That was the key little lesson there this evening within the thing. And by the way, I shared as well, just last thing was developing your eyes and your ears in a jamming context will serve you so much more than breaking out the phone with Ultimate Guitar tabs or chords. Because I shared with them, I said, would you have liked to have had the sheet of it or Ultimate Guitar? And he goes, yeah. And I said, have you ever looked them up? And you ever seen the way there's like multiple versions and some of them are wrong? And he said, yeah. And I was like, well, at a jamming session, the person leading the song, they'll have their own version, which might or might not have been on Ultimate Guitar. We won't know. The only thing you'll know in that moment is what you're seeing and hearing from that person leading the song. So that's all you can trace off they're playing. So that's a little snippet. And for those of you coming to the retreat, I have many scenarios in store that's going to bring out the jamming chops, so to say. Alrighty, so that's a bit about jamming. Yes, and 100% Brendan, yeah, that's the key thing. And by the way, I know you're going into a pub setting as well. Like, there's nothing wrong as well if you're plugging in electric to playing a little bit quieter in the beginning till you get the gist of where they're at. And the other thing too is have 2 or 3 songs yourself, like well-known songs that you think they might know, because it can happen that they might ask you, what do you want to play, or what do you know? And if you have 2 or 3 ready and practiced, lead with that. So that would work. And then the second thing is, you could message them and just ask, hey, just I have a bit of time this week, is there any songs in particular you had in mind that I might join in on? You know, it wouldn't be too forward or anything, like just a bit of a heads up, you know. And then there's the fun of just going and see what happens. But let us know. Man, like I love our community. I love that over the past couple of months there's been open mics and hearing you all like getting out there in some form or another, playing in front of others or with others. It's so cool. Okay, so Stephen shared one of the first songs he learned was a repertoire of 10 songs was Working Class Hero. That's a nice one, yeah. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, Working Class Hero. I forgot about that one. Okay, question. Andrea has a question. Thoughts on playing, singing, what suits your voice rather than the music you like? So, there's the music you like, there's the music that suits your voice, and then there's the music that an audience will want to hear. And if you can match all 3 of those things into one lovely bundle of songs, you have landed on something really special. And they're out there, they have to be like. So, I would play with the capo. Like, for example, music I like generally is the least music I give priority to playing gigs. If I played music I liked at gigs, people will be hearing Drake, like Chromeo, and a ton of music that, like, quote unquote, the regulars in a pub would not want to hear. So I usually put that lowest down the list. But if you like songs that tend to be liked by other people, then you're onto something good. To make it suit your voice, I'd play with the capo and I would change key. So I'd totally do that, use open chords. If I wanted, use nice voicings on the chords. So that would be, if you get a nice blend there. And then the third one is the audience. Like, if you're filling in with the band, like for example, if you know the person who's playing in front of the crowd and you're playing with them, perhaps, like, what do they play? What's their crowd used to? What's their audience used to? The song will need to semi-blend in with that. Because if it doesn't, it causes one or 2 problems. Now, of course, there's a benefit to every problem, but like, let's just say you sing a song that you like that doesn't fit in with the set list of the band you're filling in with. Well, and the crowd love it. That puts that band in a really awkward situation then to play more like that. And if they don't do that, that's awkward. I played a gig once, filled in with the band, and the guy went to the bathroom. I broke out Don't Look Back in anger. And that was not the type of set that, as an acoustic 2-piece, they usually played. And the crowd were lit. Like in one song, they were all singing along. Next thing, the guy came back from the bathroom and everyone was asking for Oasis, Blur, Wonderwall, and like we were playing like, I don't even know the names of some of these artists. So that's one thing to watch. Now that's super extreme example, but just it's worth saying. So yeah, hope that helps. If you need anything else, so drop me a DM or drop a thing in school. What are they called? Comments. Sorry, brain switching off. Okay, so Declan shared he loves Taylor's. Yeah, okay. I know somebody asked a question about guitarists. If Declan's on this chat, Declan is a guitar dude. Declan is the guitar whiz here for models and makes. Class. Okay. Okay. Deli Andy, we'll see you soon. It's all acoustic. Okay, Brendan. So, yeah. So in that case, yeah. Do you know what I do as well? Like the more info, like, and Andrea, this will go for you as well. The more info you have going into this, like, environment, circumstance, scenarios that seem uncontrollable, the more recon/info you can have at your disposal going into these environments, the more you're going to be at an advantage. And so, for example, Brendan, if I was going into it, I'd text the guys, or if they had videos up online, I'd look up their videos and I'd make a list of what songs I saw them play. And I'd go, okay, well, at least I know they've played these before. And now I have more info. You know, that would help as well. The neighbours, class. Hey, that's brilliant though. But yeah, that's a key thing about playing songs that you like. Like if you're going out gigging, there's such a fine line. I've played in bands where the band play all songs they like, and I've been at those gigs where the audience switched off. The audience didn't like the set, they didn't engage, they were on their phones, and the band might have had a good time. And that's kind of like, there's a cost of entry to everything. Like sometimes to get into a bar, you do have to play songs you mightn't like. Like when I was practicing Guns N' Roses in my bedroom, I did not envision myself playing Wagon Wheel and Galway Girl at most gigs, or Sweet Caroline, you know what I mean? But I got gigs. All right, hope that helps. Any other questions? I'm enjoying the questions have we've kind of gone into like out in the real world gigging territory. It's pretty cool. I have to say, like, and we're only in September. Like, it makes me excited to think at the end of the year where and what you'll have done. You know, it's really cool. And any of you watching that's like, Jesus, do I need to get out there and gig? It's totally cool. Playing your one song in front of somebody or playing 2 or 3 songs in front of somebody, that's the same level of challenge on guitar as it would be for somebody who has a couple of songs and they're going out to gig. It's always new level, new devil. There's always new things to go out and do, new things to go out and face, you know? Yeah. Just let me know in the chat actually, does sharing some of those gigging scenarios / stories help? Does it paint pictures? Or do you need more how-tos? Just curious on that. I actually played a gig on Saturday night in town with the band, and was given the set list, and we played 2 songs that the band hadn't done before. And like, this is where communicating with the other guitarist ahead of time is important. Like, one of them was a Queens of the Stone Age Little Sister. Jesus, it was like... like, goes that fast, chords keep changing and stuff. But, like, it came to it, and I usually share... Brilliant. Cool, Brendan. Thanks. I usually share like stuff that doesn't work, so I'll save you doing the same thing. I went to the gig and I was under the assumption that the other guitarist had the solo covered on this song because he's in the band and he fills in with them more. And it emerged that he hadn't played it. They hadn't played the song before. And he improvised a solo. And it was tricky. It wasn't nice to improvise over, like. But if he hadn't improvised, I would have been improvising over a ton of stuff. It would have been an absolute write-off. And one WhatsApp text would have sorted that, you know. So if there's any question, for the sake of a text sending to somebody, it can help. Alrighty, class. Yeah, do indeed. Ask for the song list, and don't be surprised too if they say to you, we don't have a list. that's really common. Like, a band will just play. Hey Trace, what's up? Had you said hello? Jeez, last minute here. Good to see you. How's life? Behind the scenes, yes. The mess ups, yes. Totally. It's I actually hold it together quite okay at gigs. I know it sounds like it's an absolute car wreck at times, but it's how would you say? But it's just sharing the other stuff. There's no point telling you stuff that goes well, because there's nothing to learn there. Yeah, so that's the thing with gigging. But like, definitely the order, like, think about this lately with all the talking we've done about gigs and the different scenarios you're all putting yourselves into. Like playing one song in front of your partner, that is a type of gig. Like, you're playing for somebody, you know. Like, I remember playing for my mum. Like, I remember, and geez, like, as if she'd interest in Guns N' Roses. Like, seriously, in what, 2000? Like, I'd be like, hey, I learned this. And I'd just play it for somebody. But part of that was the nerves, because playing it in my room for myself, playing it along with the song, but then that little walkway from the kitchen to the hallway, and having somebody come in to watch me play, that would bring out nerves. And it was when nerves came out, and I had to go, geez, okay, so this starts happening when I feel nervous. And there's only one person, but listen, like, I know there's different variations of nerves and a whole spectrum, and the spectrum what can happen. But if you can induce nerves in a healthy, nice way, that can work really well, okay? That's okay, Brendan. We'll that's what our community's for, a support group, right? It's all good. Post the videos inside the community. But yeah, so that's it. Like, find somebody to play for. And then there's the, like, you know yourselves, recording on video. Once you hit the button and you go to record, that can bring out nerves. That's another level. Something else is like playing for a small group, or playing with friends. Like, for example, I know you're saying if you had friends over, like, they might ask you to play a song, or if you're around a campfire, like little scenarios like that. And then you start stepping out, like an open mic in front of strangers, or at a larger party, bring the guitar. And then maybe a short set at a gig. And by the way, a gig can be, just to let you know, a gig doesn't have to be in a bar, it doesn't have to be in a pub, it doesn't have to be like you buy the sound system, you get paid to do the gig. A gig can be if there's a community festival on, they're looking for somebody to play a couple of songs on guitar. That can work, you know. And by the way, community festivals as well, from what I've seen and from what I've experienced, I know somebody asked earlier, Anissa, do you need to have your own gear? Sometimes community festivals, the gear is there. The gear is being hired for the weekend, so you just offer it. And then the question, do you get paid or not? But if you're just looking for experience, the experience of getting in front of people, even if you weren't getting paid for the beginning of doing it a handful of times, the experience you get in order to get paid gigs is invaluable, you know. We will say, what if they're challenging? We could say that, right? Because at the end of the day, there's the sport and the challenge of it all. And if you're only ever supported with your playing, there'll be stuff that, like, you won't grow as much as if you're challenged as well. But if you're only ever challenged and there's no support, that isn't good either, you know. So there's a nice balance to be got between both. Yeah, hope that helps. And that's what our community's for. Okay, so I'll take one last question. Okay, how do I channel nerves? How do I channel nerves on guitar? To be totally honest, like I don't gig as much anymore, so I don't get the nerves. Like, and to me, the nerves come from a new environment. So like, geez, like one of the times I remember feeling the most nervous was I did a Galway guitar night. It was up in Galway 2017, and I was playing like I was quote unquote headlining this guitar night, and there's a room full of guitarists. Really nervous, really nervous, and but you just gotta play and practice and play to a level that even with nerves, even with rattles, even with shakes, that it's still there, that it's still good. Like, you know, in school there would have been a ton of nerves, a ton of nerves. I would have gotten most of them out in school because my music teacher just kept putting us in environments that like new environments, and you just had to play. Like there's no not doing it, you know, and you just played, and it was practice. It was just practicing to the level of just that. Even with nerves, like what's that saying? Even on a bad day, like, you know, you should see them play. Like that sort of level of getting things to there. Alrighty, hope that helps. The theme of this today, I think, has been jamming, which has been cool. Alrighty, yeah, and if you have any questions, ask away in the community. Your sound, I've done that before. Sorry, I just saw Trace's comment there. Yeah, I've done the same before. You just see a reference or something, you're like, wait. Okay, cool. Oh, cool. Okay, Brendan, since this is coming up, I'll answer this one, right? One last question. How do you deal with mistakes when playing in front of people? Okay, so everyone has a tell when they make mistakes, you know? Like there's like my one is I smile. Like that's kind of, I smile more if I make a mistake. But if I make a mistake, the first thing that goes through my head is to get back to the song. And my thoughts behind this is if I play enough correct notes after that little mistake, and right, here's the thing. Mistake, right? What's that? Mistake colossal, right? That's how the mistake appears in that fraction of a second it happens. But really, if you compress it down and if you step back from it and you go, well, that was a mistake in this song, but I played enough right stuff after that. So now the mistake happened here, the song was here, enough stuff went in people's ears afterwards, and I think as well, like, I think, well, everyone's out drinking. They're not going to wake up in the morning and go, that guy Brendan, do you remember that mistake he made in the middle of that song? I don't really drink anymore, but like, I used to go to gigs and I couldn't tell you like 5 songs the band played the following day. Like, you know, especially if the crowd are out drinking. Like when people are out, they won't be logging, they won't be analysing the way we're analysing. And then that's the song, enough correct notes after the song. And then more songs follow that. And I know there might be a little mistake here and there throughout those songs, but like when you think about the mistakes and all the songs, and at the end of a night, an hour or 2 hour set, like it's really small. And I know that it's big to us because we're the ones who quote, made the mistake and might not want to, but it really, man, I don't know how many mistakes I made at that gig on Saturday night, you know, but they're part of it. There's like, I know we've listened to records where the playing is quote unquote perfect or the band nailed it on it, but like apart from the bands at the upper echelon of like playing, like I'll just say Coldplay, U2, stuff like that, like where we see perfect performance every night, bands make mistakes, especially pub bands, you know. Okay, hope that helps. You're good. Great question. Okay, folks, better let you go. This has been an hour and 10. Nice. Alrighty, could go fund these again. Okay, you need anything, drop me a message in the community. And as I said, the highlights of the last Q&A is inside the hub. It's searchable. I'm not recommending to go watch the whole video, but if you're searching for more stuff, it's going to be in there. All right, we'll see you soon. Thanks for making it. Have a good week. And I'll see you Thursday. Bye.